All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we have a few things to discuss. First being what's next for Merab Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley. Now, starting off with Merab, I feel like everyone's calling for him to fight Corey Sandhagen, and I agree. If you look at the rankings chronologically, so you got Sean O'Malley at number 1, just fought. Umar Nurmagomedov at number 2, also just fought. Petr Yan at 3. It's been a while since they fought. However, it was so dominant and one-sided. I think it was like a 50-45 decision, and I really don't think there's a lot of appetite for the Petr Yan rematch as of right now. I feel like one more fight for Petr in the top 5, another win, will kind of solidify himself as one of the next contenders, because as of right now, like I said, I just don't feel like a lot of people feel like Petr has a good of enough chance to beat Merab. And especially since a lot of these champions that become very, very dominant, rematches kind of get old quickly, and especially depending on their first result. So I feel like, especially with Merab, the UFC owes them a new, fresh matchup for the fans to get excited for. Now, number 4, Corey Sandhagen. Number 5, they could give it to Song Yadong, but it's very unlikely because Song Yadong, he's coming off of that controversial ending with Cejudo where I feel like the UFC would have preferred a finish or at least a going all 5 rounds decision where it's like the eye pokes. It adds a lot of controversy and different narratives, so it'll be harder to sell Song Yadong as the next contender. So, and then number 6 is Deiveson Figueiredo, who just lost. Now, a lot of people are saying Corey Sandhagen has the style to beat Merab, and I agree in a sense. I don't think he has the best chance at the bantamweight division, but yeah, let's get into it. So Corey Sandhagen, his last 3 fights, so he basically out-wrestled Rob Font to a decision, showing the improvements of his grappling, which I really appreciate because that's the thing. There's nothing I can't stand more in MMA where it's you're a one-trick pony, whether you only have striker or you only have grappling. So Corey Sandhagen was formerly known as this flashy, dynamic striker, which he still is, but he's added a lot of grappling and offensive grappling to his arsenal. It's one thing to add like grappling defense and cage control and all that, but to actually use that as a tool in your fights makes you so much more dangerous. So he out-grappled Rob Font for 5 rounds. I'm pretty sure he was injured as well, so that's why he couldn't strike as fluently. Next, he had a very close decision against Umar Nurmagomedov. It was a close fight. Umar clearly won. However, for Corey Sandhagen to go in there and hang with him like he did, a lot of people were counting him out. Sorry. And he did a lot better than expected. Now, after that fight, he showed many, many improvements against the fight in Deiveson Figueiredo, where you've seen he clearly out-grappled Deiveson, and he showed really good striking, really sharp calf kicks. Corey Sandhagen is easily in his prime right now, and he's very much ready for the next title shot. I feel like, obviously, you could do the Petr Yan rematch or whatever, but to me, I would just like to see Corey Sandhagen get his opportunity because so many times he's been at the top of this sport where it's like the Umar fight, the Petr Yan fight, the Aljamain fight, where he's so close, and I don't want to say he chokes, but he kind of doesn't show up fully or whatever, right? So as of right now, he has a win. I'm not saying I get it's only one win, but still, I just feel like it's clear for Merab. Merab wants to stay active and busy, and I just feel like this matchup makes sense. However, like I was saying, I feel like Corey Sandhagen is the second most dangerous fight for Merab. I feel like Umar's a bit more dangerous simply because I think Umar's skill set is a lot more fine-tuned than Corey, whereas Corey Sandhagen, as much as he's been improving his grappling immensely, I feel like Umar has obviously been doing it since birth, and that fight against Merab was extremely, extremely close, and I feel like if Umar makes a few tactical adjustments, especially with gas tank management, I feel like he has the best chance of the division to beat Merab. I would definitely bet on Umar to beat him in the next rematch. But yeah, for Corey Sandhagen to hang with him and show competitiveness with Umar, I feel like it more than enough proves that he can hang with Merab. I just don't think that Corey Sandhagen has the ability to go all 5 rounds with Merab. I feel like he'll have a lot of success earlier on, but unless he gets a finish, chances are you're not going to beat Merab. If you're going into the scorecards with Merab, chances are you're not going to get it done because with Merab's pressure, his pace, his striking, his recently evolved striking, he's showing that he's an all-around extreme threat. Maybe not knockout power, but at least the striking is enough to distract you so that he can get to his grappling. And that's the thing. I feel like Corey Sandhagen, it's now or never. I feel like his back's not up against the wall, but As far as I just don't want to see him risk his spot again because he was close to getting the title shot before he fought Umar, and he's like, you know what, I'll fight Umar, the up and coming. So I really hope that he doesn't make that same mistake, and I really think he's campaigning for the title shot, which is really good. You love to see the self promotion of Corey Sandhagen lately, and I'm really happy with how much effort he's putting into not only his fights but his out of camp, out of the octagon antics. Like you see his skits and all that stuff. You know, you may not love all of them, but at least he's putting in a lot more effort than he once was. Now, moving on to Sean O'Malley. So for Sean O'Malley, a lot of people are saying that he should fight Davison Figueiredo next, and that's the thing. We're assuming that he's staying in 40 or 35. I don't think he's going to go to 45 next. He doesn't really sound like he's that committed to that move, and yeah. So for O'Malley to fight Davison Figueiredo, two reasons why I disagree. One is because he's outside of the top 5. I don't think O'Malley kind of wants to dip outside of the top 5, even though he's not getting the next title shot anytime soon. I feel like he wants to stay in the top 5, and Davison's coming off a loss. I think Corey Sandhagen blew his knee out with the 50-50 position. So, and not only that, Davison's 38. I feel like he might even retire because like that kind of recovery, especially for that age, it would be a nightmare. So I feel like Sean O'Malley should focus on something else. A lot of people as well are saying that he should be fighting Henry Cejudo because of their history, and now that they've both lost twice in a row. No, Henry's lost 3 times in a row. Sean O'Malley's lost twice in a row. But like again, I was saying, Cejudo's at number 10. I don't think O'Malley wants to go down that far. The match that I think O'Malley should have next will be Song Yadong. I feel like Song Yadong is, obviously he does have grappling, but he's primarily a striker, and I feel like it would give O'Malley a chance to shine and really remind the people, because that's the thing. As Adesanya says, MMA, they have goldfish memory. They see, a few bad performances, and they're like, this guy sucks, this guy's trash, whatever. But I feel like with this matchup, it'll give Sean O'Malley to remind the fans and remind everybody that who he is. He's still at the top of his game. It's just, Merab's a nightmare matchup stylistically for him. And I feel like Sean O'Malley has so much more to offer the sport. However, I just really don't like his... That's the thing. I'm not saying he should be like miserable and bitter for the next 6 months and just be like bitching and complaining, but I just don't like how well he's taking the loss. Like, I know it sounds weird, but like, I don't know. It's almost like he accepts defeat, and it's just like, especially for like TJ talk about mentality, where it's just like, you have to fucking hate losing. And I feel like, I don't think Sean O'Malley was just showing up for a paycheck. I don't think that's what this case is at all. I just think that he needs to find that hunger again. I feel like he needs to find that like burning desire. And I feel like with this fight against Song Yadong, it'll give him a chance to show that he's really still there with his striking, especially because that's the thing. His buddy Schmitty was calling for him to fight Umar next. I'm like, not a chance. Because if you're having that much trouble with a grapple heavy style against Merab, Umar's even sharper with the submissions and everything. So I feel like that would be a complete nightmare. Leave that for later down the line. I feel like give Sean O'Malley a break from these grapple heavy styles. Like I said, I know Song Yadong knows how to grapple, but he's not as heavy of a grappler as Umar or Merab. So, like I said, it'll give Sean O'Malley a good chance to rebound, get his confidence back, and obviously he could go a little lower in the rankings. Like, that's the thing. Cheeto's at number 7, so he's not going to rematch him. Rob Font's at 8. I just don't think there's enough hype on that. So yeah, I think Song Yadong's kind of the no-brainer. I feel like Sean O'Malley, he was saying in his thing as well, it's like he wants to return in December. I feel like that's way too long. Especially, I feel like the lack of activity definitely impacted his Merab Dvalishvili performance. I don't think it would have gone any differently. Maybe it would have been more of a decision than a submission if he was a little more active. But yeah, I just feel like Sean O'Malley needs to get back in there a lot sooner than December. I feel like maybe in September, October-ish. You know what I mean? Because as much as he did have a few scrapes and bruises from Merab, I just don't think it was that, like, it wasn't like deep concussive damage or anything, like he wasn't rocked or anything like that. So I don't think he should take that long off. And yeah, I feel like Song Yadong will want to get back in there soon as well. So yeah, book this in September, maybe October, depending on where. Not only that, Sean O'Malley can do another 3-rounder. So, don't have to worry about the cardio. Just get in there, show your skills, and prove that you still got it. Now, moving on. Alexander Volkanovski. So he was just on this podcast or interview thing. I don't know what it was, but I think it was something in Australia. Now he says, what's next for me? Nothing's too clear. There's a lot of moving parts. Obviously, before the fight, I thought it was going to be Movsar, but I think he's fighting. And that's the thing. I feel like it's so frustrating because the UFC often completely, like, they have a clear layup right in front of them, and it's just like it's not like they don't even realize it. What I've been saying is I feel like they should do Movsar Evloev versus Alexander Volkanovski plus Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. To me, that would be an amazing card. Do that in Australia. Do like get a bunch of your Australian talent versus the Russian. You can do like a national card where it's like Australia versus Russia, and then Volkanovski has history with Islam Makhachev, and then Jack says he's going to get the get back for Volk. I feel like that card kind of writes itself. Even if you don't have a lot of Russia versus Australia cards or fights outside of the main and the co-main, I just feel like it would be a great card overall. And that's the thing. We haven't been really spoiled in a while where it's just like two insane title fights on the same card. I feel like it's kind of like, a main event title fight, and then it's kind of like it's like a flyweight or like one of those women's fights where obviously they're good fighters or whatever, but I just don't feel like it's like the what, no way. Like, whereas this would really blow the MMA community's minds, this kind of card. And I feel like they could do it even in Abu Dhabi. Like, it doesn't have to be in Australia, but if they want to go back to Australia, I feel like that would be a no-brainer. Easily, you have two of your guys, two of your champions, active champions right now as the main event. To me, it would just sell itself, but whatever. Moving on. So, Volk says Yair's name's getting mentioned a fair bit. Just the date of September, probably not the best date because he's having another baby. Volk, I think he's having his 17th daughter. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I feel so bad for Volk, blah, blah, blah. It's not the fact that... That's the thing. I feel like Volk, obviously he loves all of his daughters, right? Without a doubt. But I feel like he would like at least one son. And it is kind of like, it's funny to watch because he's had so many daughters. And it's like, I think he's made jokes about it a few times. And that's the thing. I feel like it's not good to have one or the other. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be good to have only sons either. I feel like having... sons and daughters, it's a good mix. It's a cool dynamic to see. And obviously Volk's gonna be happy regardless, but yeah, I get why he doesn't want to fight in September if that's when his baby's coming. It is what it is. Hopefully all is well with Volk. And I feel like, if he's talking like this, and I think August they have Dricus and Chimaev, so I feel like if he's going to come back, it'll probably be October, so that I think that's probably Abu Dhabi. So like I said, you could do Della Maddalena, Makhachev, and then him and Movsar in Abu Dhabi. No problem, no brainer. But for him saying that Yair's name has been coming up lately, it's just annoying. And I feel like the UFC might be able to convince Volk to come back in September, but you never know. I don't know. It's just really frustrating hearing that Yair is actually like what's talking about, because it's one thing for the rumors and the people to be like, oh yeah, they're talking about Yair, but for Volk to actually say that that's what they're thinking, it's really frustrating, especially once you know that I think they're trying to do the Movsar versus Aaron Pico, and that makes me even more angry because it's like an unranked guy from another promotion coming against one of the what's Movsar ranked here? Movsar is ranked number 4. So yeah, to get a top 5 off the rip, it's just I made multiple videos about it, so I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's just very annoying for me. If you're coming in from a new promotion, top 10 minimum or maximum. Maybe top 15 depending on the circumstances and how much experience, but not top 5. I'm sorry. But no. That's all I got. Hopefully Volk gets a better fight. Hopefully they can do the Movsar one next. I'm doubtful, but it is what it is. And then Merab versus Corey. Sean versus Song. Boom. That's all I got, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys on the next one.